Hey guys, thanks a lot for clicking on the video. Today, as you can tell from the thumbnail, we're going to talk about some of the toughest Super Nintendo bosses. 10 of them, in fact. Let's check it out. Starting off at number 10 from Super Metroid, it's Ridley. Now this is a really fun boss fight. You should stock up on all your weapons before you enter this room, and he's number 10 on this list because think about it, in the game of Super Metroid where Mother Brain is the final boss again, everyone still talks about Ridley 35 years later. Now Ridley can finally fly around in this room, constantly smashes you back into the wall, and has a very strong flamethrower. This is one of the tougher fights, and I kind of feel bad putting it at number 10, but you'll see as we go down that they just seem to keep getting tougher and tougher. Number 9 from Super Mario RPG, Calyx. Now you might miss this fight altogether. The only hint that you have something special is there is one mysterious locked door in Monstro Town. Now, just to unlock it, you have to buy the fireworks in Moleville, trade them for the shiny stone, then that stone will react and unlock a battle for an interdimensional knight named Calyx. Now, Calyx is considerably more challenging, which is probably why the creators made him a optional boss. Now, Calyx has a seemingly endless hit point pool of over 12,000 and immediately drops in 4 different colored crystals just to wreak havoc on your party from the beginning. There's fire, water, earth, and of course wind. All these elemental magics become the bane of your existence. Here's a tip, guys. Bring Toadstool and make sure she uses her group hug a lot. Number 8 from Earthbound, Gaius. Fighting Gaius in Earthbound is an odd and profoundly unsettling experience, especially the first time. Gaius's appearance is terrifying, and most of your attacks seem to bounce right off of it. Unless you went into this battle knowing that Paula's prey was the real key to victory, you likely tried over and over to outlast Gaius, only to wind up losing and tossing your controller across the room again and again. With all the confusing series of steps required to beat this final boss, Gaius is a perplexing and seriously challenging foe that stands out even to this day. Number 7, Dr. Tongue from Zombies Ate My Neighbors. After you fight and dodge your way through an SNES title that had some of the most levels, you wind up in the laboratory of Dr. Tongue. You watch him take down a vial of God knows what and transforms into a tarantula with an incredibly confusing hitbox. This guy speed crawls his way across the map, blasting webs and mini-me spiders all over the place every 2 seconds, and to make matters worse, he leaves those webs all over the map, making it almost impossible to move freely. He's fast, he takes up the whole damn screen, he has a monster health pool, and just when you think you finally have him beat, he turns into a floating head and starts throwing a whole new mess of attacks at you. Please be stocked up for this fight. Is anyone shocked that we have another RPG final boss in here? Coming in at number 6 is Lavos from Chrono Trigger. Now, a game as epic as Chrono Trigger was, it would be nothing if it didn't end with an incredibly awesome and an incredibly difficult final boss. Now, Lavos is another RPG boss that has a massive health pool, limbs that act independently of its body, and a devastating attack laser that could sweep hit your whole team. When you finally do push through and get by him, he changes into a slender robot that calls itself Lavos Core and summons 2 flying cronies to bring the pain some more. Now, even when you're at higher levels, it's still a difficult task taking on this energy-eating alien. I love that. For an extra challenge, try taking him down during the first time you meet him. Depending on when and how you beat him, you could get 13 different endings. Get ready for the S sounds. This is number 5, Sardius from Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Now this is one of the best games Capcom has ever put on the SNES. Unfortunately, it's also one of the most difficult and frustrating. Now this is exactly what a final boss should be. Sardius is a giant that takes up most of the screen. He moves really slowly and has devastatingly powerful attacks that can kill Arthur in a hit or two. You have to watch out for his mouth projectiles, double jump to the platforms, and aim for his head. With some practice and a few tries, you should be able to figure out what needs to be done to truly defeat him. Still doesn't make it easy though. Alright guys, so we're at the halfway point now, so I thought I'd shimmy in our first honorable mention. Moldorm from The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Now, when I was doing research for this video, I read a couple of articles, looked at some lists, and I took a poll on my community tab, and Moldorm popped up, and I immediately thought, yep, honorable mention. I hated that guy. Now, this boss level isn't the toughest you're gonna come across, but what a pain in the ass. If you don't get around him just right to strike at his tail, he'll knock into you and bump you off of his level, and you'll have to climb all the way back up and try over and over again. A frustrating boss, definitely worthy of honorable mention. Number 4, Dracula, from Castlevania Dracula X. Well, at least this isn't a 3-tiered final boss like the last time around, but this is still a tough battle with Dracula. You're going to need to avoid his projectiles and move from platform to platform and wait for your moment to strike. You're going to have to rinse and repeat while having the patience of a saint. When Dracula finally hulks out, the difficulty and the speed of his attacks ramp up as well. He'll be tossing out fire attacks like it's going out of style. If you're up for it, now's your chance to put the pressure on him and attack non-stop. Another epic showdown with the Prince of Darkness. Prince of Darkness, wait, is that Ozzy or Dracula? Number 3, M. Bison from Street Fighter II, Turbo. The leader of Shadaloo, the final boss of Street Fighter II. M. Bison was a tough-as-nails fight. You really needed to know your character very well to defeat this guy. The AI's skill was amazing. A weak block, he'd throw you. You get too aggressive, Psycho Crusher. Then he'd block and counter almost everything else, not to mention that he'd be often on the attack, jumping in the air or throwing those long kicks. All these years later, it's still an accomplishment to be able to beat this Bison. Number 2, Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat 2. Another final boss from a fighting game. This was a little more frustrating for me as a kid, and even now, today as an adult. Shao Kahn is OP. Most of his hits do a guaranteed 25% damage, and blocking doesn't help you that much either. You could be using your best character, hitting all your moves, have him in danger, and then he can turn the tide and win the match with just a few well-timed moves. You need to be relentless and a little lucky to get past this final boss, all while he's telling you that you're gonna die. Before we get into our number 1, I wanted to do one more honorable mention. Now this is the level 4 boss from Contra Alien Wars. I don't even think it has a name. The entire level just feels borderline unfair, or like a mini boss rush in itself. Not only is this a tough level with some other tough enemies, when you finally get to the level boss, you need to be great with your controller. You need to hit the boss in just the right spot while dodging its projectiles, all while jumping between missiles. And let's not forget that you don't want to be on a missile that gets too close and blows up, or accidentally pressing the down arrow while you're on the bottom missile trying to dodge things and you fall to your death. Have fun with this one. Number 1, Kaiser Sigma, Mega Man X3. This is my number 1 toughest boss on the SNES, Kaiser Sigma. He had a tough first form with a shield, no less. Then he changes into a giant Gundam-looking machine, and to top it all off, what makes him the toughest boss battle is his tiny hitbox. Sigma can only take damage from headshots. You're trying to hit this tiny head target, all while dodging all of his attacks, and some of them take up a big part of the screen. Even if you know the quote-unquote easy way to beat him, it's still going to take quite a few tries, and you have to perfect your timing. Also, don't forget to become a master at bouncing off the walls, Ninja Gaiden style. And that's going to do it for my top 10 toughest SNES bosses. If you like this video, be sure to check out my 10 toughest NES bosses in the link below. Also, I'd love to hear your rankings, or is there an SNES boss that you think should have been on this list? Let me know down in the comments. Until next time guys, take care.